This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, saving your day from boredom with the best podcasting entertainment.
What's up, Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, along with fellow man-child Johnny Karlic. And we are back for the Rick and Johnny podcast, where we talk about everything under the two nerdy suns. Could be from movies, could be from Marvel, could be from DC, could be from comics, could be from TV shows, could be from anything. Video games, although we have too old a game. If there's Overwatch stuff that comes out, Johnny and Ricky are your boys, because we play Overwatch here for MVP. But Johnny, we got a jam-packed show. It's pretty much a Marvel DC day, a typical day for the Rick and Johnny podcast. Going to be looking at a Marvel theory about S.W.O.R.D maybe being introduced into Phase 4 for the MCU. We're also going to look at, on the Marvel side, the Disney-Fox deal. We thought it'd be done by now. It's not. It will be done in March. So we're going to look at some of the movies that have been shelved by Fox and how they should look, or what we want them to look like under the Disney brand. And then in the middle of that, we're going to talk about some DC. Should they continue to focus on other heroes besides Batman and Superman, and kind of talk about everything that's going on with Matt Reeves' The Batman movie right now. But before we get into everything, I got to let you know, make sure to go to patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast to help support us. Johnny and I did the Patreon podcast for January. If you want to pay for it, that's great. $1, you get the audio. $2, you get the video. If not, you can, at the $10 tier, you can join a podcast. We have different rewards for different tiers on our Patreon, and it helps support us, making sure we can do what we love to do for you guys each and every week. But Johnny, let's get started with the show, and let's start with this Marvel theory. So the theory is that obviously S.W.O.R.D is dead.
Yes.
We have seen after the Winter Soldier, after everything that happened in Captain America, Civil War, S.W.O.R.D is pretty much dead.
Yeah.
And there will be hopefully a new organization for Nick Fury in Phase 4. The kind of general synopsis is that it is going to be S.W.O.R.D. And if you are unfamiliar with S.W.O.R.D, that is the Sentient World Observation and Response Department. They basically are S.W.O.R.D for the cosmic size, and they're on a bigger scale. I want to ask you for if I'm going to hit you straight with it.
Yeah. Is
S.W.O.R.D going to be the next step for Nick Fury in Phase 4?
So one thing I want to state first, for anyone like me that watched it, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is sort of like set over here. Like, it's still sort of connected to the MCU, but it's like, yeah, we don't really
It's
deal
also
with that
like the
very much.
Netflix shows, where it's like they might reference what's going on vaguely, but they're not connected.
They are connected, but it's like
they're not
vaguely connected. I would say it's like a vaguely connected. It's like we're not necessarily really gonna cross over. Like Nick Fury was on one Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Sif was on 2 of them, but really that's all you get.
Yeah.
You're not really you're gonna have them reference a ton into the MCU. Actually, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. follows whatever the MCU does. So when Winter Soldier happened that season, S.H.I.E.L.D. fell, and then dealing with that. It's actually a really cool show. But anyways, back to, I think what it is going to eventually lead to S.W.O.R.D, because with everything going on right now, you really don't have S.H.I.E.L.D. You have sort of like Nick and Maria doing sort of just a worldwide espionage, and
they're kind of mercenary on their own.
They're like he's sort of like the guy that IT guy that works out of his house. He uses the resources he has, and him and Maria are going around just doing troubleshooting on the world. But eventually the MCU wants to go into Phase 4 into Cosmic. The next step for him would be, well, I'm going to join the next biggest thing, S.W.O.R.D. And you might think, well, he was in, was it Age of Ultron? He was kind of bringing S.H.I.E.L.D. back, per se, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, he still had access to those ships. That's one thing. But then what was it? We had Age of Ultron as well in the middle, where he was that, and then he kind of went wait, he shadowed out in Winter Soldier, right?
Yes.
And we haven't seen him till Age of Ultron. And then we skip around and now we finally saw him in Infinity War. Okay, I want to get that straight in my head before. So that would mean that everything he's been doing sort of a S.H.I.E.L.D. thing till then, but
well, and the thing I just want to throw out there is what you just said is basically the whole thing of Marvel has said they want to go more cosmic.
Yeah.
In Phase 4. We're talking about Eternals are going to be there. Guardians Volume 3. Captain Marvel 2 is obviously going to be greenlit because I'm assuming that movie is going to do fairly well for them. And they want to go more outside of what's been going on Earth. And the thing that I find interesting is, like, if that's the case, then S.W.O.R.D is definitely where you want to go with it.
yeah.
The thing is, do you, like, for S.W.O.R.D, is it going to be like a Nick Fury run department? I don't think it's going to be. Or is he going to create it and then they're going to hand it off to the person who's going to run S.W.O.R.D?
What would be cool is like maybe it was like Nick Fury ever since the Avengers first movie with
in
the attack on
in
2012 the Chitauri attack, and that was why I lost train of thought earlier a little bit. He was starting like, okay, aliens are fucking out there, and now the public knows about it.
We can't say they're not.
We cannot say they're not because look at New York, look at all the footage. Well, no one can say they're not out there anymore. So we're gonna start something, and maybe Nick like got the ball rolling on it, saying, "Yeah, we need to start something to get this going." And then you can see some clips from Spider-Man Homecoming where they're collecting
that equipment
because
to make
that's what started the Vulture thing. It's like. No, we're like, and they said Tony Stark is doing the cleanup, which maybe he's like, okay, because Tony Stark relief effort, he's going to use all his money to clean it up, but S.H.I.E.L.D's going to take all that stuff.
Yeah,
and that's how they can develop.
Tony was putting his name on it. That's
he
about
was.
it.
Well, and I don't even think it was that. He was sort of that, but the thing is like, felt responsible.
Yeah.
Because
he's been like, he said to Thanos, "You've been in my head."
Yeah, and it wasn't even necessarily that. It's maybe like once he went into space and almost died.
Yeah,
thinking I'm not coming back was the thought of, oh hey, I should probably do more to help out. Okay, I'm going to pay for a lot of the damage done to New York because it wasn't necessarily my fault. But I was part of what happened.
But it was the event. Like
it was the Avengers. People could blame the Avengers, exactly. So if Tony didn't, but anyways, going past that, I think that's what they did is they took the alien tech, and Nick's like, we can use this to start another. Like it maybe start like, okay, a branch of S.H.I.E.L.D. We'll have something at least orbiting Earth, because I think that's what usually it does. S.W.O.R.D's ship in the comics is it does other things, but it usually probably orbits Earth.
You're talking about the is it the headquarters called Peak?
Sure. I don't remember.
It looks like a prism, and then it's got like the
circular
thing on the outside of it.
Yeah, so, I think that's. I didn't remember the name of it.
That's another thing that's interesting, too, is, of course, that the MCU haven't followed the comics completely 100%.
No, but I mean, like, they just take basic skeletal frame of it.
I wonder if in Captain Marvel, we are going to see the beginnings of this S.W.O.R.D initiative, where maybe it's something we see on somebody's desk of, like, S.W.O.R.D, where it's like, hey,
at the very end,
they have thought about this. Not even that, just in the movie where it's like it's referenced such a small amount because S.H.I.E.L.D. might be like, hey, there might be things out there. Hey, let's start developing this. But they never like kickstarted it in a way. Whereas now, after what happened in Avengers, Nick Fury's probably like, hey, I got to start getting this ramped up again because there definitely is threats on the outside to Earth. And in the comics, what happened with S.W.O.R.D was during Secret Invasion, which we're going to get a little bit of that in Captain Marvel. S.W.O.R.D's headquarters, called the Peak, was destroyed by a Skrull infiltrator posing as S.H.I.E.L.D's Dum-Dum Dugan. Many agents die in the initial explosion, though others survive due to hostile environmental suits. Brand, encased in one of the suits, manages to make her way into one of the Skrull ships. And Brand being, I believe she is the one that was in the comics, the head of S.W.O.R.D.
Yeah. No, what does S.W.O.R.D stand for again? Do you have it up on yours?
S.W.O.R.D is the Sentient World Observation and Response Department.
Okay, so I mean, it would be cool if someone had that on their desk, but I feel like that would be more of a, hey, end of the movie, someone has like on their desk S.W.O.R.D initiative or something like that, because we really don't have anything in the MCU stating like, hey, we have encounters with aliens until Captain Marvel, which is in the 90s.
Yeah.
Before it would have been, first one would have been Chitauri in New York, but now it's at least Nick Fury dealing with aliens a little bit. So, and it's not really like public that we know of yet. Something could change that in Captain Marvel.
Well, and the other thing that throws into it is S.W.O.R.D was introduced in the X-Men comics.
Yes.
First off, Marvel can't use S.W.O.R.D in a movie until the Fox deal goes through, because I'm assuming because it was introduced in a X-Men comic, that's why Fox has the rights to it.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
it was introduced in the X-Men world, but like, then you know what? That is, I'm gonna go back on it.
Yeah.
We're not gonna see it in Captain Marvel. The reason why is
The deal's
if
not done
the
until
deal's
March.
not gonna get done until early March.
Oh, it's definitely not going to be
There's not
then.
going
You're
to be
right.
enough time, because that comes out March 8th.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not going to happen then.
So like,
unless they reference it and don't say the name.
Yes, they could do that.
Yeah, they can say like, "Hey, we're starting a new thing," and then like Endgame, they can bring up S.W.O.R.D. They don't name it yet.
They vaguely describe it.
Or they can even have like a bunch of different like initiatives that like.
Or it could just be something of like, hey, we like on a board. Like it might just be like one of the threats that they got to start planning is sentient life and like outside of Earth.
Or just so like this would be just a cool sort of dynamic before S.W.O.R.D starts and we don't have the name to it. It's like, hey, Nick makes a line of long. I'm gonna sort of paraphrase a line I'm making up. Nick goes, "We'll be the shield if you'll be our sword."
I mean,
right before she leaves.
Oh, come on.
Sort of cheesy, but kind of cool.
That's like Aquaman type of cheese.
I know, but still, tell me it wouldn't be kind of cool and referencing S.W.O.R.D without it being S.W.O.R.D.
It'd be, can Samuel Jackson make the line cool? That's how we
You
debate
think
it.
Samuel L. Jackson couldn't make the line cool?
Samuel L. Jackson could make anything cool.
Exactly.
He can make a sugar cube cool. Let's be completely
He can make
honest.
fire cool.
He can make anything cool. The uncoolest thing in the world, he can make it cool.
Really? Just going to go over my bad joke over there about fire?
Going to completely
Ignore it.
that one. But I mean, so that means because of the Fox Disney deal, we're not looking at S.W.O.R.D until Endgame. Correct?
Exactly. Yeah, no.
And at that point...
Probably not. Yeah. Maybe they might be able to sneak it in an Endgame, but that's even debatable.
Well, and that's interesting because with Endgame... I mean,
because post filming has to be done by now.
Yeah, right now they're probably doing all the effects and stuff.
Yeah,
like, they're done filming. It's all just making it, then all the special effects and stuff. But the thing that's interesting about that is I don't think we're gonna get any scenes in the movie about a S.W.O.R.D. If anything, it's going to be maybe a post-credit scene.
Yeah,
they might want to throw it in there, or they just say, "Hey, you know what? The timing's not going to work out. We've got other things that we're going to do."
Well, they can throw it in, like I said, maybe they may, like I said, then in Marvel, MCU Marvel is really good at doing this, making references to things they don't have access to without it being a problem. I mean, they didn't do you and I got upset when they Miracle Mutant thing, but I mean, it was, let's put it this way, if you want to try to soften the blow of that one,
which I was always confused how all the mutants are over here with Fox except for Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver.
Yeah, I think it's because they also did stuff in the Avengers comics, which is why it's like a dual ownership. So maybe that's what.
Then why wasn't Wolverine a dual guy?
I don't know.
That would have been, which, by the way, this is off topic.
I don't know how they do that. I don't know how the paperwork works with that.
You know what I read online that kind of hit me? Dark Phoenix is going to be the first X-Men movie in our lifetime without Wolverine in it.
Wow.
It's going to be the first one. And then like, I saw that article. I was like, let's not speak until after the movie because there might be a cameo.
Wolverine cameo.
His suit might be laying around somewhere, or a Weapon X reference might be thrown out.
But that's not Wolverine being in it.
It's a Wolverine cameo to me. But I mean,
just anything to make Wolverine in it, right?
Let's be honest. Hugh Jackman might be cameoing in it. We don't know for sure.
Exactly. Let's not say that until we see it.
Google thinks he's in Avengers Endgame.
I'm okay with that.
But with S.W.O.R.D and Nick Fury, I think it's one of those things where at the soonest we will see it is Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah.
Because here's another thing that's interesting that I want to throw onto this pot that we're kind of mixing together.
Stir a little more.
In Spider-Man Far From Home, you might be saying, but why Mysterio is not a cosmic entity? First off, Mysterio tricks people. What if then we've already heard, hopefully we're getting a trailer on Tuesday, is what the rumor says. We've already heard, though, from that trailer that they showed at the Brazil Comic-Con.
Say Brazil.
I said Brazil. But what they showed at that Comic-Con. But I mean, the point I'm trying to get to is Mysterio is working with S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
And what if he is deceiving S.H.I.E.L.D. as S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't know he's just a special effects guy. They think he is a cosmic entity. Like, holy crap, look at what this guy can do. He's like Captain Marvel, like Doctor Strange in a way.
Yeah, maybe.
And deceiving them to where that's why S.W.O.R.D, and they can actually then call it S.W.O.R.D in Spider-Man Far From Home because the Fox Disney deal will be done because it has to be done by March if it's going to go through. And that's when they can introduce S.W.O.R.D because that's supposed to take place moments after Avengers Endgame.
Yeah. To add on to yours, it's either that he's like deceiving them with his special effects thing, or he's also using Chitauri tech and other alien tech because also like maybe there was stuff left around from the Dark Elves.
Yeah.
Who else do we have from Wakanda and Avengers Infinity War?
You're talking about the Children of Thanos?
Yes, maybe something was left around from one of them. I mean, most likely the only one it would be is Call Obsidian would have left something behind because Ebony Maw didn't have anything.
Yeah, Ebony Maw's also got into space.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying that necessarily. I'm saying like before they left, did they leave anything behind? Well, one left a hand and possibly damaged something. The other two...
The other one had his Sith.
Yeah.
Scythe, I should say, that Vision used to stab him. But I don't know why the Avengers would just leave that.
Well, that one sucked up with him.
No, that was
earlier. The daughter.
I'm talking about at the end. No.
Oh, you're right.
At the end,
when they killed him, when Vision killed him,
stabbed him, and right when he said to Cap, "We don't trade lives."
But so did didn't the daughter of Thanos, one of them, I forgot.
She died.
She died, but I'm saying, didn't she leave that spear type thing behind?
That's the thing.
I have to watch a movie
with hers. Again. Because she got sucked up into the big machine.
No, that was
the chick.
No, that was the dude.
No, that was the chick. I'm telling you. Because Ebony Maw got sucked into space.
Yeah.
Cole Obsidian.
I'm not saying their deaths. I'm saying their weaponry.
Yeah, I'm saying her weaponry got sucked up with her and we didn't see it.
Yes, but before that when they're fighting Vision and Scarlet Witch, remember she had that spear?
That got sucked up.
No, that was the other guys.
They both did. I'm telling you. I watched it now 3 times in the last week. When that happens, the weapons both get sucked up because both of the weapons.
I only
come
noticed
up
that
with them.
his weapon got sucked up.
His comes up, and then the other one, it was in Black Widow's hands, and it gets ripped out of her hands and sucked up with her. Yeah, because one was on the ground, that goes up with him, and then one was in
I didn't
Black
know.
Widow's
I thought
hands, and it gets sucked out of the hands and gets thrown up there.
So then that didn't get left behind either. So, well, anyways, I mean, still, the attack on Wakanda, there's still all those alien ships around Wakanda that someone could have got access to. You never know.
That could be a funny dynamic of, like, Nick Fury getting bamboozled by Mysterio. Like, wait, you're not a cosmic entity? Like, we are S.W.O.R.D. That is what we deal with now.
Yeah.
And, like,
that'd be the thing.
Let's be honest. Mysterio powers, if you don't know he's trying to, it's just all visual effects, could look very cosmic-y.
Exactly. I mean, they even said, and it was funny that they had
Is that
problems.
even a word, cosmic-y?
Well, we'll use it. Hashtag cosmic-y now.
Yeah, hashtag cosmic. Cosmic-y.
Cosmic-y.
Go ahead. What you
like,
were
remember in the same video, the Brazil interview, they said they were having problems with the suit, Mysterio's, because it would just randomly flash lights at times. That's kind of funny. But, I mean, like I said, it could be just the special effects. It could be that he's using some sort of alien tech that he stole, just like, the whole thing crash landed on the beach. Who knows? He wasn't there before that.
I want to ask you
this. In Spider-Man Homecoming, just to state what movie.
I want to change really quick and ask you this. Are Kevin Feige and MCU Marvel going to use S.W.O.R.D to introduce the X-Men? Maybe, and here's what I'm spitting out here. You know me. I love to come up with these post-credit scenes. What if at the end of either Infinity War or the end of Spider-Man Homecoming, probably at the end of Infinity War, because it's a post-credit scene, what if we find out Nick Fury has been working with Charles to develop S.W.O.R.D?
Maybe.
In the MCU.
It would be interesting.
Because the MCU, they vaguely have followed the comics.
Yeah, exactly.
They have not done the comics to a T, so even though that's not how the S.W.O.R.D was developed in the comics, could that be a way for them to bring the X-Men into it and basically be like, hey, the reason you didn't know the mutants were around was because S.H.I.E.L.D. was doing their best to basically hide the mutants. So it's like the X-Men were being hidden from society because they didn't want anything to happen. Mutants, they were living among us, where you didn't know they were mutants, and S.H.I.E.L.D. was doing the best that they could to hide the mutants because...
Right, like keep an eye on them, but...
Because S.H.I.E.L.D. in the 90s might have done an initiative like that because Talos, who is the leader of the Skrull, and he's going to be Nick Fury's boss in Captain Marvel, might have set that up as a, hey, we're going to hide them, but it was really used as a double-edged thing to also hide...
A double-edged sword?
Maybe. To hide the Skrulls who were hiding on Earth as well.
Very true. That could be it. So it's like, oh, hey, we found another mutant. And then, like, who knows? The Skrulls could give them some sort of power. Because, I mean, in the cartoon,
those are the Super Skrulls.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But those would be the ones that, like, oh, it's a mutant, but we have a Super Skrull here instead.
Exactly.
And it's a good way to hide it. Yeah, that's true. Or it just him being part of S.H.I.E.L.D. in general. Oh, I can now make you into... I have access to, like, everything. So now I can give you an identification. I can give you... And this and this and this, and like, no one knows you're not that person now because I have access to social security records, blah blah blah, and blah blah blah, everything that you need to be part of society now.
Yeah, I just think it's gonna be
like that old lady.
Exactly,
that she beats up in the
one that she
trailer,
beats the hell out of in the train.
Bus? I think.
Do you think that S.W.O.R.D is gonna be used if they do use S.W.O.R.D? Are they going to use it to help introduce the X-Men in the MCU? Because this is a discussion we're always going to have.
I think it's going to be more so to be used to introduce the cosmic realm of the Marvel
transition us over
into cosmic, less of used to introduce X-Men. Yeah, it might help to do that per se, or at least to introduce mutants because the leader of S.W.O.R.D is half mutant, half alien.
Yeah.
But I think all in all, it would be less that. I think if anything, Endgame or even Spider, you can introduce them in some way. Anyone that connects to the X-Men somehow. Spider-Man connects to the X-Men.
Yeah.
You can do that as one of his things because, like, them, sadly, it would be them rejecting him. Because that's what they do. He's like, well, you're not. They don't consider him a true mutant because he's not born with the powers.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was that, or like you could do it in Endgame. You can have introduce them somehow as a post-credit scene, maybe. But that's also cutting it close to the deal.
I honestly think if we're getting X-Men introduced, it's a post-credit Endgame.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I think. Because
that's the earliest we're going to get it, though, too.
I think a post-credit for Endgame from March until when we get it is quick enough. And let's be completely honest, Marvel could always, like MCU Marvel Studios, I should say, could always have one lined up where it's like, okay, we've got our post-credits, but for this one, if it goes through, we use this one.
That's true.
If not, we use this one. Or we put this one in. Oh, it didn't go through? We don't have it in.
Yeah, I don't think Marvel would waste the money recording all of them, though. They might, they may not. I don't know.
CGI Hulk?
That's true. They
did waste.
They waste money to deceive us.
So why not potentially waste money?
I just don't know if that comes down to a not a breaching contract, but that comes down to like legal stuff, where it's like, hey, you're recording something that's not that you don't own. Yeah, it's like you don't own this. You don't have the right to film it.
But if it doesn't see the light of day,
that's true,
and it just gets destroyed, like
that depends if they want to use the money on that at that point.
I think it'd be worth it.
Maybe
I think it'd be very
just
worth
to have it waiting.
But this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you think down below in the comment section. I pointed the camera, although I know it had turned off on us, but let us know what you guys think down below. Is S.W.O.R.D going to be the next step for Nick Fury in Phase 4? How do you think they introduce it? Do they use it to help them introduce the X-Men into the MCU? What are you guys thinking? But Johnny, let's move on into our next segment. And before we do, I'm going to go ahead and pitch our iTunes and Apple Podcasts. Make sure to, if you have iTunes and Apple Podcasts, to rate and review the Rick and Johnny podcast, because Johnny, we have a new review that I did not see last week because it came about a month ago.
Nice.
So I have not checked for us because we haven't gotten many new ones recently, but we did get a new one from Nick Peaks, and he gave us a 5-star rating titled Awesome, and he said, found you guys on YouTube and just can't get enough. Love the MVP. Thanks for doing what you do. Smiley face. Thank you, Nick, for the 5-star review.
Yes,
if you want to be like Nick, make sure to go to iTunes and Apple Podcast and rate and review the Rick and Johnny podcast. But what we are talking about in this second segment, Johnny, is a little bit of DC news, or a little DC topic.
News.
Because I'm kind of worried. When has that phrase never come out of Ricky's mouth? When
DC and worried in the same sentence with Ricky?
It comes out of Ricky's mouth. So the question that we're asking is, should DC focus on other heroes besides Batman and Superman? And the reason why we're doing this is there's an article that I saw on Screen Rant where they said why Aquaman and Wonder Woman get good reviews, but why Batman and Superman don't. And their bullet points were this. Number one, Batman and Superman have had well-received movies in the past. So basically, you got to live up to the past. Wonder Woman and Aquaman. How many Wonder Woman and Aquaman movies do you know of?
Aquaman, 0.
Yeah, not many.
Wonder Woman, I don't know if it was a movie, but it was a TV show in the 80s, 70s.
Not many to go off
Exactly.
of.
Nothing really to go off
as recent in our heads. And in our lifetime, 0 for both of them. Then you've got people can't let go of previous interpretations where, like, for Batman, an example, when you make a Batman movie, everyone is going to compare it to Christopher Nolan's Batman, to The Dark Knight, to Christian Bale, because that was the last one that we seen. They also said Marvel didn't have this problem starting their universe. Yeah, because Marvel didn't really do good movies before the MCU. Let's just
Marvel did movies before.
Let's just call a spade, where it's like, you know what? Marvel and their movies were not good before the MCU. Ang Lee Hulk, anybody? Like,
what? That never happened. There's no Hulk. There's no Hulk movie before
exactly.
the MCU.
Like, the MCU kind of started that all, and we kind of forget all the other Marvel movies. Like, I know the X-Men are different because that was Fox.
Fox, yeah.
And the last thing that they put, I think it's the last thing, Aquaman and Wonder Woman are unique, and that is DC's future. And for me, I kind of agree with that last point 110%.
Yeah.
They're unique. We haven't seen it because I don't have a ton of different other things to base it off of. I'm going to go in like an Aquaman movie. They made it fun. Aquaman's usually a joke in himself. Like, let's be honest, he's the DC hero that everyone makes fun of.
The only time it was cool was in, what was it called? Well, there's 2 times that I can say he was cool now, actually. Well, 3 now.
Aquaman, the movie.
The movie. But aside from that, from Flashpoint, he was fucking awesome.
Yes.
He looked like a nerd, but...
Well, I'm talking about...
that being...
You're talking about the movie Flashpoint, the animated movie?
Yeah.
Where... That was unique too, because that was when you got Wonder Woman and Aquaman
which I really hope they go with that point in Flashpoint.
I hope so too.
To derail this conversation for a second.
I hope for it so much.
I really at least the 2 of them to fight, if nothing else. But aside from that one and from Justice League, the cartoon we used to watch, he was a badass there.
Yes.
But everything else, he's a joke.
Let's be honest, where he was a dork was like the Super Friends, where he's like, but let's be honest, that was the time, though. That was
it was.
Of the time.
But actually, riding the giant seahorse as opposed to these awesome and technically, I think they based it off of, instead of the seahorse, there's something called a sea dragon, and that's what they based it off of.
Yeah.
Which was cool. I like that they developed it that way.
Now, here's the thing I'm going to throw out.
Yes.
And this is rumored news from like about a couple days ago. So apparently, the headline reads, Matt Reeves' new The Batman draft added more spectacle. And what is being reported is that, from the sound of it, Reeves has amped up the spectacle a bit. I don't know what motivated him to bring a little more explosiveness to the proceedings. Maybe the studio has loosened the reins on his budget a bit thanks to Aquaman, but I hear the action quota for this film is somewhere between 7 and The Dark Knight. So, like, that's what, like, I look at it this way. If it's going to be just under The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight had some pretty big action scenes in it, especially, like, the ending one where it was, hey, Batman is basically chasing the Joker, when it's like they're transporting Harvey Dent and the Joker pulls out the bazooka, and that whole scene of just explosions. You have the kids going like and then boom, 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 and they're like shocked as Batman rides by on the bat cycle.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts with this The Batman? Because we've talked about it numerous times. Oh, the script's supposed to be done here before the end of the year. Oh, it's supposed to be done by the end of the year. Now we're seeing another draft. This movie is supposed to begin production in November of this year. What are your thoughts on it? And at this point, are you kind of like, you know what? I'm not going to be upset if we don't get it because of what we're getting from DC so far.
Well, there's a few things I want to say about that. For one, I think it's weird you're struggling so much on a Batman story. Because you have so much to work with, and you don't really have to introduce... You don't have to introduce anything.
You have to do an origin. We know the origin.
We don't need to introduce anything. It's like Spider-Man. You don't need to give us Uncle Ben's death.
They didn't, and it was great.
And they did. And that's what I'm saying. We don't need to... There's... so many things we don't need to do with it. There's that. I don't know why you're struggling so hard. You have so many comics to go off of. You more so they can name them more so.
Yep.
You can name them more so than I can. There we go.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can tell me that there's a shit ton of stories to go off of, and I know there's another podcast that we actually talked about this.
There's an entire gallery
of rogues to fight,
villains that he could fight. Like, and that's the thing that I liked about Christopher Nolan's kind of series. And I know this is the problem that article just talked about, is the thing with Batman and the thing with Superman is there's a recency bias. I'm going to call it a recency bias, even if it's not that.
Yeah.
But I think it kind of is, where it's like, for me, when Batman, the Justice League Batman, the BVS Superman, you compare it to Christian Bale. Like, immediately when there's a new Batman, all right, how does he match up with Christian Bale, with George Clooney, with Val Kilmer, with, I think I'm forgetting one. Am I forgetting one? Clooney, Kilmer. I think there was one in between Clooney and
Yeah,
Kilmer
I think they had a different Batman in each one of those movies, didn't they?
Then you've got Christian Bale, like I've already mentioned. I'll look it up while you're talking. But the thing that I think of is because of that recency bias, and I'm at fault of it too. The thing I liked with the Christopher Nolan Batman is, yes, with Batman Begins, did we get his parents dying? Yes, but it didn't seem like it was... Like, the thing I liked with it, they gave us Thomas Wayne.
Yeah.
They gave us him talking to Bruce on the train so that it was like... Or they came when Bruce fell through the well. We got to know a little bit of Thomas Wayne before he died. And kind of what does that mean to Bruce? Then with that whole villain, Ra's al Ghul. We're in a live-action Batman... have never seen Ra's al Ghul before, and it was very nice because you tied in the whole League of Assassins thing. You could then tie in his daughter for the third one. In the second one, it was beautiful. We got the Joker. We've got, for me, I'm going to say my best live-action version of the Joker. And I know I wasn't alive when the Romero Joker was out for the Adam West series and movie, but that was more of a jokey, haha Joker. This was like the psychopath, serial killer, like, I'm insane Joker that we saw. We also saw a little bit of Two-Face, but it didn't take anything away.
Exactly.
Like, it didn't take anything away from that. The only thing I didn't like about The Dark Knight is that they killed off Harvey Dent, because we then couldn't see that. The third one was the one that I liked the least out of that trilogy, because just I didn't like the story of where they went with it. But like, even look at those villains. You had Talia coming back for her father. You had Bane in that one as the main villain in there. You had the Scarecrow that was back. Oh, the Scarecrow
was back.
Was
he was in
also
the
in
first
Batman
one.
Begins. I forgot about him completely as well. And there are so many villains that I didn't like. The Penguin. I know he was in a way back. Like, you have him, you have Catwoman, you have Poison Ivy. Like, you have all these different villains that you can use. And like, look at Spider-Man Far From Home. They used the Vulture. If many people...
You mean Homecoming?
Homecoming, that's what I mean.
They used the Vulture.
Far From Home is going to use Mysterio. But even look at that.
Hydro Man.
And Hydro Man. And there's going to be Sinister Six kind of inklings in there.
Yeah.
But if you were to me to say, all right, you're going to do 2 Spider-Man movies, who are the villains you're going to use? Green Goblin would be at the top of that list. Kraven would be at the top of that list. Doc Ock. And what did Marvel do? Hey, we've already seen the Green Goblin. We've already seen Doc Ock. Let's do someone that we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
And that's what I think Batman needs to do.
Solomon Grundy.
What haven't we seen? Solomon Grundy. I'm going to say this. Give me a Man-Bat. Give me a Man-Bat Batman, because
that'd be cool.
The only time I've seen Man-Bat is the animated series.
Yeah.
Have not seen him in a live action. Yes, I know we technically saw the Riddler with the Jim Carrey Riddler.
Yeah, give us the Riddler.
I know we've seen not Sub-Zero, Mr. Freeze, but I would love a better Mr. Freeze impersonation than
you don't like all the ice puns?
No, the ice puns. No, I did not. But I mean,
hey Ricky, what killed the dinosaurs?
The Ice Age, and blows right through it. And that's also a problem with Batman 2, is because there have been so many Batman movies. Think about it: Tommy Lee Jones Two-Face, and then the Harvey Dent that we just saw. We've already seen Mr. Freeze. We've already seen Riddler. We've already seen 2 versions of Catwoman. I forgot that she was in the Christopher Nolan third film, but we also had Catwoman and I believe it was the Val Kilmer film. Like, that's the thing of, like, go into some of these villains that we have not seen from Batman, because there are more out there than just the main one.
Let's also be fair with this. Hey, we got bad reviews on Batman movies. We got bad reviews on Superman movies.
Mm-hmm.
We necessarily didn't get a Batman movie.
Mm-hmm.
We got a Batman vs Superman movie.
Oh, you're talking about Batfleck movie. We never got a sole Batfleck movie.
Exactly. To be fair, we never got a Batman movie. We got a Batman vs Superman movie. Whereas, we did get the Man of Steel movie, and it was okay. To be fair, in my opinion, it was okay. It didn't have the tone that I was going and expecting a Superman to be. That's why. And yeah, it made him a little more human to some degree, but it also made him like, this is very Batman-ish. So it's you also have to think about that side of it. We didn't have an actual Batman or Batfleck movie to make it a little bit more prominent of which Batman we're talking about.
So, okay, I'm going to throw out some.
Yeah.
These are classic Rogue Gallery Batman villains that we have not seen in Batman movies of yet. And here's what I want you to, Johnny.
Okay.
Do, Johnny. Pull up on your computer a Word document.
Oh, the Word document.
I am going to basically put your thought process to the test with this one, because also I have to look up for one of these. I know we talked about this villain is coming to the MCU, but I can't remember. Okay, that's what movie he was going to be in again. Okay, so as I list them off to you, I want you to come up with your definitive list of number one is, yes, that's the first one I want to see. The last one will obviously be like, yeah, that's not the one I'm hyped up about.
Okay.
And you can order them as I list them off. The first one that we have not seen in a Batman movie, I'm putting an asterisk, though, because we're going to see him in Birds of Prey, Black Mask. We have not seen Black Mask in a movie, live action for Batman, but Ewan McGregor is going to play him in Birds of Prey. Another one, Clayface. Clayface is also another one that we have not seen in a Batman movie. Number three, and let me know if I'm going too fast for you.
You are, because my my Microsoft isn't working.
Okay, so then what we're going to do...
Hold on.
Did you get it to work?
Nope, I just opened Google Drive.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to do this live on the podcast.
So we have
Black Mask. We have Clayface. That is what I've listed off for you. Let me know when you're ready for the third one.
Okay.
This is another one that has been in a DCEU film, has not been in a Batman film. Deadshot. We've gotten Will Smith Deadshot. We could easily put Will Smith Deadshot against Batman. Firefly, who is another one.
Yep.
Firefly is one of those that is Garfield. The one that I know is Garfield Lynch, who's like an orphan who became a pyromaniac.
Yeah.
And then that's his kind of shtick. Here's an interesting one. Hugo Strange. And this could be one where, what was Hugo Strange's biggest thing? He wanted to learn the identity, and eventually does learn the identity of Batman being Bruce Wayne. This one I'm putting an asterisk next to too, because they're going to give us an animated movie of this, so they won't do them live action. Hush. Dr. Thomas Elliot, the brilliant surgeon who grew up being Bruce Wayne's friend, and then targets Bruce Wayne
in
wanting
his
to
obsession.
look exactly like him. Killer Croc. We got him in Suicide Squad, but we haven't seen him in a
I'm putting an asterisk by
Batman
him too,
movie. Killer Moth is another one, although for Killer Moth, I'm going to put him down at the bottom.
Yeah.
Mad Hatter.
Yeah, that's who I was trying to think of.
We have not seen Mad Hatter. We have also not seen Man-Bat, who I have previously mentioned. Mr. Freeze we've seen, Penguin, Poison Ivy. The last one that I would say, the last two This one is kind of a lower one. I don't know if we'll ever see him. The Ventriloquist. Basically, that's one with the... He's got the little, in the animated series, a little like gangster puppet that has a mind of its own. And then the last one I think we've seen, I think he was in Suicide Squad. I can't remember, but I know he was in the Batman games. But Victor Zsasz, the serial killer who like marks his kills on his body. Like, those are all the main villains that we have not seen in a solo Batman film. You're telling me, before I even get to your list, which I want to start bottom to top, and I'm going to talk a little bit so you can come up with it, you're telling me we can't get one of these villains to be in a Batman film. We can't get one of them to be a Batman villain, kind of like how Spider-Man Homecoming used the Vulture, who we have not seen in a Spider-Man film. And I get that there's a little bit of a discrepancy because the only Spider-Man movies that we have known were the Sam Raimi ones coming in. Are you done with your list, or are you still fiddling with it?
Still fiddling.
Johnny's like, I'm going to overthink this as much as I can.
No, I'm just putting them in the orders I want them.
How many did we have total?
Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
So 12 of them that we have not seen. There are some, like the ones with the asterisks, like Hush, you can take off because I don't know if they do that with him being in an animated movie. I'm
gonna leave him in. I'm gonna leave all the asterisk ones in because I'm like halfway done.
Him and Black Mask are the two where it's like Black Mask is interesting though, because just because he's in Birds of Prey doesn't mean we can't see him. Like, if Ewan McGregor's character does well enough in that Birds of Prey movie, there's no reason then why we can't see him in a solo Batman film. Now, for Superman, you could do almost the same thing, too, is how many Superman villains have we seen where it was basically General Zod. They did a really bad version of Lex Luthor. I didn't like the Lex Luthor that we saw.
I hear that a lot.
Another one that you could throw in there if you wanted to is Deathstroke. We haven't seen him in a Batman film. He was originally supposed to be in the Batman movie before Matt Reeves took over, but we have Janello's, or Janello's.
He was sort of in there for...
He was in Justice League.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be more in Justice League.
But he wasn't.
But he was just the post-credit scene. But we haven't seen... But see, Deathstroke is one I would save for if you're going to do a Teen Titans live action. I know that's kind of tricky because you got the TV series, so I don't think we'd get a Teen Titans live action. Plus, they want to do a Nightwing. They want to do Nightwing and Batgirl as well, which would be interesting for Teen Titans because, like, Nightwing, I know there's other reincarnations of or other versions of Robin, but, like, Dick Grayson would not be the one that would be the Robin leading the Titans. Almost done with the list.
Yeah, I'm just moving things around now. Almost.
Okay. Johnny's like, I'm really thinking about this one. This is also one where I got to be honest. I put you on the spot with this. But let's be honest. I usually do that. I usually go ahead and just put you.
I mean, we probably would have been done sooner if my computer were cooperating earlier. Oh, man. Okay.
This technology, like, what are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
You tell me. I want to start from the bottom.
The lowest, the one you want to see least.
Start from the lowest. So start from 12. Go to number 1 and give us your kind of, if you want to, for some of them, give us a little reasoning. Let us know.
Killer Moth has always been an villain.
You're just like, throw him to the side.
Yeah. Followed that by Killer Croc. We've seen him in a movie. I don't necessarily want to see him again.
We've seen him, and he probably wasn't even that great in Suicide Squad.
No, not really. It was okay, I guess. Firefly, again, it's sort of along the Killer Moth thing of like he's just you can throw him in there sort of like they did with Scarecrow in the trilogy,
or like a Harvey Dent. I'm not gonna say Harvey Dent because Harvey Dent as Harvey Dent had a huge role in the Dark Knight.
But I mean, as Two-Face, he didn't have a huge role. So you can throw him in there like that. I would say if you're going to use Firefly doing like Black Mask might be part of another movie. So again, save it and keep it for that. Deadshot, same thing. Again, another part of the movie. So I don't necessarily want to see that. Now getting in the ones that the one I was reason why I narrowed all those down so quickly was because of a lot of them were asterisks, and so Firefly and Killer Moth were.
So that was Killer Moth, Killer Croc, Black Mask,
Firefly,
Deadshot.
Black Mask, Deadshot.
So 5.
Yeah, that's 5.
So now we have
narrowed out either because again they're like of a villain, or
so this is like the top 7, the definitive. This is where the real list.
This is where the real list kind of starts. Victor Zsasz. It would be cool, but again, it'd just be a detective-ish movie, or like it'd be like watching CSI.
He would be a side villain. He's not your A. Yeah. He's your B, your little B, or he's your B or like your A prime, or the smaller villain, not the main focal.
These next two could be swapped out either way because I found in the cartoons him to be the one that's above. I'll just say Hush and Ventriloquist. To me, can be swapped out because it'd be kind of cool. It'd be kind of weird too to have Bruce Wayne playing dual, or Ben Affleck. Let's say that's the one we're doing it off of, playing dual parts.
Parent trapping it
in a sense. Yeah. Ventriloquist had a really weird dynamic and cool dynamic to him. Because there were a few episodes with him, wasn't it?
Yes. Well, it was the thing I always liked about it was the dummy had a mind of its own.
Yeah.
Where it was basically. The ventriloquist had, it was never clear to me as a kid, did the puppet have magical powers like a mind of its own, or was the ventriloquist kind of schizophrenic?
See, that's
to
the
where
thing.
He had a dual personality that has separated itself so much to where they can live on their own.
And that's part of what goes into this whole list of like, how can it play in a movie? And that would be like when he has the puppet on his hand. Has a mind of its own,
but he's still able to act as him.
Yeah, he can act as him, but then like he does the whole puppet thing, and that's where the schizo takes over type thing, and that'd be a cool dynamic to a movie per se because the schizophrenia takes over because that's how for him it establishes itself.
Exactly.
And then whatever ensues with that. Hush is just, we've talked about in other podcasts, actually, and it would just be along the Hush story. But kind of the young friend of Bruce Wayne's when they were kids, taking an overbearing, stalkerish style thing to it. And then that would be the whole Bruce Wayne side of it more so than the Batman side of it.
Well, with his, it's not necessarily a stalker. It's more of
it comes down a stalkerish type
kind of
thing.
The whole thing that I liked with that whole story is I always felt like Thomas Elliot was always the jealous of Bruce. Like, yes, they both came from wealthy families, but I always felt like Bruce and his family were just above the Elliots to where Thomas Elliot was jealous of Bruce. And that's what fueled this whole obsession.
But it comes with an obsession, and it comes almost like a stalkerish thing, which you can play into that. These other two can also be almost, they were close, but I think one over the other, actually. No, I'm saying it. Hugo Strange is next up on that list because that'd be cool to have sort of an Arkham Asylum movie where it's trying to figure out where the hell he is, and Hugo Strange just putting him through the loops. Yeah. Until the end of the movie.
Also, I wanted to throw this out.
Yeah.
Matching Hugo with Hush would be interesting.
That would be.
Because Hugo could then learn Batman's identity, accidentally kill the wrong Bruce.
That's true. That would be a cool one.
By the end of the movie, Hush could look like Bruce, and Hugo kills Hush, and then Batman takes down Hugo.
Yeah. Clayface would be next because that'd be a cool detective movie. It'd be a very detective side of it until the end.
Yeah.
Because Batman has to find someone he can't pinpoint a face on.
Would Clayface, and I want to throw this out, would Clayface basically fall into the same category, though, as Sandman and Sam Raimi? Or could you do Clayface as the main villain of a Batman movie?
I think you could if you really wanted to. because like I said, it's a 50-50 shot on that. Because what you'll have to do is kind of have him like have his own scheme or whatever. Because I forgot, what was his motivation in the cartoon series?
Clayface was the actor.
Yeah, the actor, but what did he want?
Actor with the face cream.
Yeah, but what did he want? I forgot what it was that he overall wanted.
Here, let me see.
Aside from looking young and getting more movies.
With his, it was always, I want to say it was revenge that was his whole thing.
When his face started deteriorating?
Yeah, so he was a B-list actor who was driven insane when he hears that a remake of the classic horror film he starred in would be shot without him acting in the film, even though he is to be one of the advertising staff. Donning the costume of Clayface, a villain he once played in a different movie, he begins killing actors playing characters he killed in the order and the way they die in the film, along with somebody who is his identity. Last, he plans to murder the actor playing the Clayface killer. He is foiled by Batman and Robin. So basically, you could do almost that same storyline of, yeah, it would be a little bit more detective-wise.
Yeah.
But you could have your action set piece of the end of just the actor who kind of tie in both. He gets replaced because maybe he's older and they want to go younger.
Yeah.
He uses the cream to try to get younger like he did in the animated series, becomes Clayface like he did in the animated series, and then his MO is to basically, you did this to me, so I'm going to kill all your actors.
Yeah, exactly.
And starts killing them in a certain order, and it's Batman. Little detective-y, but yet again, that's not bad for a Batman movie.
Which it should be. Next one would be Mad Hatter. Again, very detective-y.
What number is Mad Hatter on your list? 2. Okay, so there is one more. So Mad Hatter's an interesting one.
He is.
I think you can do a good Mad Hatter.
Because I know you don't really like it, Gotham, the TV series, I like the Mad Hatter in that too.
It's not that I don't like it. It's that I got disinterested it was a very novel idea of at first it was like, oh, this is cool. The focus isn't on Batman. And then after 1 or 2 series, you're like, yeah, you know what this show needs? Fucking Batman. After 1 or 2 series, you're just like, yeah, I just want to see Batman.
It's more of what it comes down to for what I've saw up to. I think it was season 3 or 4 I saw up to was it's basically all the introductions to his gallery.
Yeah. And
so that's why
I get it's supposed to follow Commissioner or James Gordon.
Basically, like I said, the gallery starting up, each part of the gallery starting up, each main villain of the gallery, and then.
Firstly, I just look at it and go, all right, this kid's been how old through this entire series?
He's slowly getting older, like a normal kid should.
Slowly, but after a while, I'm just like, man, I just really want to see Batman right now. It's like the Smallville thing of after a while. I never
watched it, actually.
After a while in Smallville, I didn't either, but I hear this from Dave, from my friend Pete, who is a huge Smallville Superman guy. Yeah. After a while, you're just like, I just want to see him be Superman. That's all I want. And that's the big thing of why they hated the ending.
Getting impatient.
Because all they got at the ending was him doing this, and then that's it. You didn't even get to see him in the suit after how many years?
That is disappointing.
So that's the thing.
That would be a disappointing ending.
The biggest cock tease of a series that you can know. But yeah, the Mad Hatter to me has always been interesting because
mind games.
Yes, and mind control.
That too, yeah.
That's the big thing of mind control is a big caveat that you can use in a movie to help drive something and be a kind of thing that Batman needs to get over. I should know this. Who's number 1 then?
Man-Bat.
Okay, I should have realized. That would be my number 1.
Yeah.
Because
part of it is I just really want to see Man-Bat. But there's so many cool things about it. You'll have a lot more action in it because he's got to take down a Man-Bat trying to figure out what the hell is going on in the first place because people are being sucked dry of their blood.
Yeah.
The fuck? And then you got Bat's DNA that he's got to deal with, blah, 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 blah.
No, it's
50% action, 50%.
If you've listened to this podcast, I feel like almost every other Batman segment we talk about, I mentioned a Man Bat.
Man Bat comes up, yeah.
Here's one that I want to throw out here right at the end.
Yeah.
Do you think it's time for a Batman Beyond movie? Because there's part of me that's like, hey, you know what? How do you spice things up?
I'm waiting till
you give us Terry McGinnis instead of Bruce Wayne.
I would say wait until we actually get a good bunch of movies down. Let's see how Shazam goes for one, because now I think you said you were worried a little that they're adding too much, like I said.
Worried, but yet again, I'm gonna like Aquaman had 2 villains, and it was fine.
There's 2 villains, not.
I get it,
12.
but let me see what it is, and then I'll make my judgment, although I'm going to feel a little worried. But that's one thing with Batman that I've thought of is, if you want to give him something different, and you got, let's say, one more film contract with, or on the contract with Ben Affleck, all right, Ben, we're going to do Batman Beyond. You're going to play old Bruce Wayne, and you're going to play mentor to Terry McGinnis. Like, could you imagine that movie where the beginning of the movie, Ben Affleck is in the Batman gear, kind of like the animated series, where he goes and tries to fight the villain, but it's like he can't do it. Like, oh my God, I'm way too old for this, and just escapes with his life. And then to see him mentor Terry McGinnis, or whoever you would get as Terry McGinnis. I think it'd be a fresh take.
It would be.
It would actually what's the word I'm looking for? Rejuvenate or re-energize the series, because it would give us something different that we have not seen. Because with Batman, there's 2 ways you do that. Give us a villain we haven't seen. Give us a Batman that we haven't seen.
Yeah, I would just wait, like I said, until we actually start getting.
Could you imagine
movies.
A Batman spinoff about Thomas Wayne? Like, it's a spinoff set up in that universe of a Batman story using the Thomas Wayne Batman.
Yes, please. That would be amazing.
Where it's like, it has nothing to do with Flashpoint. It's just, hey.
Well, it would, but it wouldn't.
We're going to set up, but this has nothing to do with the Flash coming in. This is just,
we don't touch the Flash.
A story in that universe.
We don't touch that Flash, but we'll like maybe, I mean, at that point, yeah, show me the Bruce's death instead, so we can see like the mom.
That would be an interesting take. Actually, show us that death.
Only because then we can see like
of him dying in Thomas's arms.
Him beating the shit out of the guy that robbed them, killed Bruce,
and
the
his
mother
mom just going insane.
And like that blood streak of for the smile. I want to see that.
Oh man,
her like holding it, crying, and then as soon as Thomas is finished beating the shit out of the guy, turns around and the crying turns to laughter, and she goes like this, pulls the hand away, and just starts laughing maniacally.
I don't know though in a movie if you'd make it that quick of a turn. I think in a movie the way I would make it is it starts with sorrow.
True.
And then over the movie she starts getting more and more insane to where it's almost her origin story of becoming the Joker. And his origin story of becoming Batman. So kind of
like as they start growing apart type thing?
Yes. Show me how Thomas Wayne became Batman.
And how Martha Wayne.
But only if Jeffrey Dean Morgan is
only
Thomas
if Jeffrey
Wayne.
Dean Morgan
That's
plays Thomas Wayne.
That's the only way I want it. But this is where you guys come in and let us know what you think down below in that comment section. I like how this segment started off with like, oh, should they focus on anything else? And it just became, hey, how do you make a good Batman movie?
Yeah, we were supposed to talk about one thing.
So
and
let's be honest. We might change the title on YouTube where let's be completely honest. How do you make a good Batman movie? We just told you how to do it. But Johnny, let's move on into our final topic. And what we are taking a look at is back on the Marvel side. The Disney Fox deal is, we heard that, oh, it should be done maybe by the earliest, the end of January, and we got excited, but now it is January, and that is 2 weeks away. And now what they're saying is because of, I believe it's CAD, or CADE, is the acronym for it, this company down in Brazil, I believe they
Something
said.
Like that, I guess.
Basically is taking a look at if it's fair on both sides, and now the earliest and latest that it can be done is March, and that's what we're expecting. And we are knocking on wood, I am right now, that this gets done and we get to see the X-Men in the MCU.
Just sign it already.
But the interesting thing that has come out this week, or interesting in my mind per se, is that the movies X-Force, Gambit, and Dr. Doom that were supposed to be in production by Fox
have been put on
have now been delayed. They have been reportedly shelved by Fox. So it says in this article, with the Disney Fox acquisition looming, films such as Dr. Doom, Gambit, and Deadpool offshoot X-Force have reportedly been shelved. The deal, which is not expected to be finalized by March, will result in the return of characters' rights, the X-Men, Fantastic Four, and all of their tie-in characters to Marvel Studios, allowing Kevin Feige and his team to use them in the MCU. So what I want to ask you, Johnny, is with these movies, how should an X-Force, how should a Gambit, how should a Dr. Doom movie look under Disney? Or is this a fact of, will Disney look at it and go, no, that was a bad idea. We're not doing that.
They might do that for the Gambit movie.
Yes,
at the start.
I was looking
at the start, because they're like, we're not starting with a Gambit movie.
If you're gonna give me Gambit, give me a Gambit and Rogue movie.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
Yeah, that'd be better, because I mean, then you got both of them for
and
one
don't
too.
Give
it's
me
like,
Channing Tatum as
no,
Gambit.
don't. If anything, bring back the other guy that played it in the Wolverine movie.
Yeah, the guy from Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, I don't remember his name, to be honest.
I think it's like Riggins, or no, Riggins was his name in Friday Night Lights. But go on.
Yeah, no. I think they might laugh at that one and say, no, we're not starting with a Gambit movie.
Why would we do that?
Why would we start with Gambit? You have so many others you can start get into Origin or whatever with.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they did do that, yeah, probably a Gambit and Rogue movie. But that one's one they probably would not start with. I'm actually starting my list from the bottom to the top again, like we did in our last segment. The next one would be X-Force. They could probably think, like, you know what? Since the Deadpool stuff is out there, the Wolverine is all, well, that doesn't even really tie in anyways, but it's like, since Deadpool movies are out there, we're going to start an X-Force now. Cable has sort of been set up, because that's that was with production with Marvel, wasn't it, at that point?
Which one?
Or were they considered in production with Marvel?
Which movie?
Deadpool's.
No.
Okay.
The Deadpools were Fox.
Though they're not MCU affiliate, they're just in production with Marvel, the company itself.
Yes.
That's why. I was like, I thought too hard about it when I saw it last time.
They've got to put Marvel at the beginning of it, because technically it's a Marvel character, but it's not
a Marvel movie, but it's not MCU.
Marvel Studios, and it's not Marvel, the TV company, television.
So they may go off of like, well, then it's up to them, because like they were talking as if like, yeah, we want to keep Deadpool rated R if they can, but so I mean, I could see them doing an X-Force one. And they may even like try, if they were smart, they would keep Ryan Reynolds, because Disney is really good at picking who's best for the role. It's like, hey, Ryan, you want to come finish Deadpool stuff with us and be part of X-Force? And then bring back they use Josh Brolin as Cable, and Domino. So they have all those characters set up already.
Depending on what happens to Thanos.
Well, it doesn't mean we can't have Josh Brolin.
I mean, Josh Brolin is Thanos, though.
Yeah, but Thanos
is mostly CGI, though.
He's mostly CGI. He's just.
I'm just being an ass.
I know. It's just Brolin's voice,
basically.
Except for apparently, he also does the motion capture suit, which funny to me. And but I mean, then the top one would be Dr. Doom.
That's the one I want to see. Like, if any of these happen, give me Dr. Doom, because we just talked about with Batman changing it up.
Yeah,
I've seen a Fantastic Four movie. I've seen Fan-4-Stick.
Yeah,
give me something different. Give me a Dr. Doom. And if you want a cosmic thing, do something with Dr. Doom and like the Silver Surfer.
Maybe.
If those two can tie together nicely.
I would actually just do a straight up Dr. Doom movie. Give it the mysticism of Doctor Strange. Give it the tech of Iron Man. And follow it all up with a tonality of I almost said season 2, but the phase 2, where everything was kind of darkish and a little bit on the almost grittier side.
Yeah.
Give me that. That's what I want to see.
Do you have to have the Fantastic Four in his movie?
Not if you're doing a somewhat origin movie.
Okay.
His rise to power in Latveria, I think it was.
Latvia.
Was it Latvia? I don't think it was
so.
Latvia.
I think so.
Look it up while I'm talking.
But I mean, like, that's what I would do is basically just like, if I can do it without the Fantastic Four until maybe the end.
Just give him his movie. And what I would say is, like, because I think the reason he goes into mysticism and science so hard is to the loss of his mother.
You're right, Latveria.
Yeah, it's Latveria.
A fictional nation.
Exactly. Just like Wakanda. But I would say do that. Bring them into, or bring that element into it and make him almost seem human until he starts to do some very drastic things. And then at the end, make us realize, oh, maybe he is the villain, blah, blah, blah. Per se.
I mean, that to me that's the one that intrigues me the most. The second one is the Gambit one, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Only because under Disney rule or under Disney leadership, it's not just a Gambit movie to me. I want, like, if I'm getting a Gambit movie, I want a Gambit Rogue movie. Where it's basically a Bonnie and Clyde buddy cop comedic or rom-com. It's all those thrown together. Like, give me the romance between LeBeau and Rogue. Give me the Bonnie and Clyde type ism where it's basically them on the run. They've left the academy. They're off doing their own thing, much like we've seen in the comics with them. Yeah. And they're just doing their own thing being mutants. But of course, their mutant life has a way of bringing things back to them. And plus their temperaments as well. Because they're not very, like, Gambit's not a very lay low type guy where he will for a little bit, but he's got that thievery guy in there.
Exactly.
Where he has that, like, where if you pick a fight with him, he's going to fight with you. He ain't going to back down from that fight. Like, and that's what I kind of want to see, is a story revolved around them, not just Gambit. Because, like, the story that they were originally going to tell of, like, him with the LeBeau gang and, like, with the robberies in New Orleans, it didn't tickle my fancy. Much like a Gambit Rogue movie would have.
Yeah. Then I'm just wondering if Marvel would do that or if they would wait, introduce the X-Men, and then split off movies and like, oh, hey, we'll do a Gambit Rogue.
No, that's what they will do. I'm just saying when I do get that Gambit movie, I want a Gambit Rogue movie.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, though, I'm wondering if they would wait, first do the an X-Men movie, introduce all their characters as the X-Men, and you don't need a origin for everyone then, because this is like a little different, whereas you needed like the origin of Iron Man, you needed the origin of Captain America, of Hulk. You don't need the origin of the X-Men, because guess what?
We have it.
They were, anyone knows, and you can explain in the movie again, they're born with these powers. They are activated in teenage years from some sort of high stress situation.
I want to ask you this, because this just popped into my head.
Yes, sir.
I think I've asked you this before, but I'll ask you again. If you're Kevin Feige, congratulations, Kevin Feige.
God damn it, again. I don't like this dress.
The X-Men coming into the MCU, are you recasting or are you keeping the first class? Or basically the Dark Phoenix saga class?
Oh, that's hard to do.
Or are you recasting and saying, nope, we are bringing in our own guys for
I
this,
would almost say recast, because if you can't get everyone, it kind of screws things up. Because as of now, you're already not getting everyone because you're not getting Hugh Jackman, which you already said.
I don't count him in the first class.
I do, because they did introduce him. They threw him in on that one Weapon X part of the movie.
What do you mean?
When Jean Grey freed his mind just a little bit, and he ran into the wilderness. That was Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
Was this in Days of Future Past?
Yes.
Okay.
No, this was Apocalypse.
Was it?
That was Apocalypse. No, wait. Yeah, it was Apocalypse, because Apocalypse had Charles. They were locked in that base, and they had to get out so they can go get Charles.
This is exactly why my answer is recast. Because Fox has muddied the water so much with it that it's just easier to say, you've all been let go, and we are finding our own guys.
Thank you for everything you've done. Goodbye.
Because also, it comes down to if you keep that cast, you're bringing all of that baggage with you, and Marvel's not. Like, Marvel Studios is not that kind of a studio.
They're finally
they like
putting
to
baggage.
do their own thing.
Yeah.
They like to do their own thing. Like Spider-Man, oh, you have Andrew Garfield? And no, you don't. We're bringing in our own guy. This guy, Tom Holland, this is who we're bringing in. That Andrew Garfield guy, oh, you loved him? Doesn't matter. You're going to love this guy more.
Yep. We'll make you love this guy.
You're gonna love my slap chop. You're gonna love my Spider-Man. Basically, that's what I was going with that. But I mean, that to me is what you got to do. Like recast the X-Men, start over from square one.
Like I said,
basically.
unless you can get every person that was part of it to come back.
And that's the real question is, do you count Wolverine as... I don't count Wolverine as the first class. I count him as the old guard that just happened to bleed over because Wolverine's popularity was so high.
He doesn't just bleed over. I mean, he's the only one that was sent back and was there when they rebranched the timeline. He's the only one that was able to, so he's stuck no matter what. But no, the reason I count him is because they did throw him in there. They said, oh, hey, by the way, hey, that's what you did when you did the Wolverine cameo, is you set him in the universe. That's what it comes down to. You set him in the universe.
But at the same time, you could easily bring back everyone and recast him, and really you can do it like we've talked about with the time. Because there's the time
unless you're gonna,
stuff that's going to go on. It's just, oh, to us he's different. But
or then like bring that if you're going to do that, don't just do it to one person. Bring
it to all of them.
Bring half. If you're gonna blame the timeline for messing up some or changing some people,
I'll be completely honest. Like,
but again,
which one? Like, if you're doing that now, like we're gonna get into some muddy waters here. Who do you bring back? Because I'm looking like. If I list off the cast...
Sophia Turner, I would bring back.
I would not bring her back.
No?
I would not. I honestly am not a fan. Like, I am so worried about her as Jean Grey in this Dark Phoenix. Like, then that's another thing. I think Dark Phoenix is going to be bad. I don't think it's going to be good. I don't. Like, I saw an article yesterday that, do you want to know what the reported, rumored budget for the film, for the Dark Phoenix film is?
How much?
$200 million after reshoots. $200 million after reshoots. That to me, maybe it's because I'm not in the the film industry to where that doesn't seem like a lot. But just to put it in perspective, X-Men Apocalypse, that budget was 178. So they spent nearly $22 million more than Apocalypse. Then if you go back to Days of Futures Past, that was one that was, all right, that was a $200 million one. And how good was Days of Future Past? That was not my favorite of the first class kind of X-Men movie that we've seen. And then X-Men First Class was between 140 and 160.
See, again, you know what? Just recast all of them. Because
John's like, I take it back.
No, I agreed with it initially, but I said if you were going to do the timeline jump or like, hey, change one person, change a few of them, because if you're going to play it off that way. But then again, unless you're going to go back before, let's just say before the early 1800s, because if you're playing off the timeline, Wolverine was born in the early 1800s. So unless you're going to go back before that, it doesn't change who he is. Which I doubt that. I think the farthest back they'll go is like 1944, 45. Or whatever. No, whatever your captain went under the ice. like right before that. So anywhere from 42 to 45, I'll say.
Also,
is the farthest back they'll go.
Here's another thing that Marvel Studios has to think of is if you're going to bring the same cast into the MCU, could you technically do it because of age? Where think about it, like Dark Phoenix is going to be set in the 90s. So these actors and actresses in a year would have to look 20 years older. Like, because Endgame is 2019. It's in present day.
Yeah, there's two things that go into that. One is a different universe, per se. We'll just go along with that. So, I mean, their age doesn't necessarily matter.
I think it does.
It does, but it doesn't. Oh, it does, but it doesn't. Because you don't want to do that because people are going to still reference back to it like we are and say, well, they were in these movies. They were is the 90s, and they're like they're still teenagers. Why are they teenagers here? And people don't always realize, well, Marvel Fox is not the same as Marvel Disney until March this year.
Yeah, but that's a thing of like, what does Marvel want to do? I think it's easier just to
recast everyone, and then
here's something I want to bring up.
Make them all adults.
That plays into maybe the X-Force side, and this is the last thing I'll bring up of what that movie could look like with Disney. There are rumors that the Black Widow movie could be a rated R movie.
Ooh.
If that happens, does that can only mean good things for Deadpool, right?
Yeah, definitely.
That Deadpool can survive as a rated R movie with Disney.
Well, again, didn't the top guy in the Disney, whoever it was,
Bob Iger,
say he wanted Deadpool to stay rated
last
R?
thing we heard from him is he didn't want to touch it.
He's like, I want it to stay rated R.
But from what this is going in is, so Charles Murphy, not Charlie Murphy, Charles Murphy from the Hashtag Show has now taken to Twitter to report a new detail about the Black Widow movie. He first heard rumblings of a Black Widow movie back in December 2017. And according to Murphy, Marvel at the time considering making it the first ever R-rated film. It's an interesting comment, although, of course, that's weird. Although, of course, it's difficult to substantiate. Certainly, an R-rated Marvel Studios movie sounds unlikely, given Marvel's emphasis on making family-friended films. At the same time, though, there has been recent movement on this. Disney wants the Deadpool franchise to continue after the Fox acquisition, which may prove to be a game changer. There's also been speculation that Marvel could choose to launch a new brand akin to the Marvel Max or Marvel Knights imprints in the comics, and that rated R films could be distributed under that brand.
So they're just going to sort of like make a rated R brand.
Basically, like Marvel After Dark.
Oh, God, please don't say that again.
Basically, that's what it makes me think of, like Marvel Adult. Marvel Adult. Like, that's basically what you're pandering to, is us older fans that now want that violence.
We can watch that.
Yeah, we can watch it now. Mom can't tell me what to do. I don't live in her basement anymore. But, I mean...
Nope, I live in the attic.
It is upstairs, not down to... Or from...
We don't even have a basement.
No, or it makes me think of... I don't think you've seen this TV show, but the TV show Sirens.
No.
Where one of the characters was like, dude, you live in the basement. He goes, no, I live in the loft. I live in a loft. Separate levels. They're totally different. No, dude, you live in the basement. No, they're different levels. I'm totally fine. But this could only mean good things for a Deadpool, for an X-Force.
Yeah.
Because they can live on as rated R
movies.
Do you think then Dr. Doom would, like, going back to that, would you want it to be R or not R?
I mean, you don't need it R. I feel like you need a...
What would you prefer?
I would say keep it PG-13. It doesn't need to be. Because here's the thing. Save the rated R movies for characters that need to be rated R.
Like Deadpool?
Like Wolverine finally got in his last movie. Widow would be fine in that realm.
Just because of what has happened. Like,
yeah.
I want rated R for Widow because then show me everything that had happened to her.
Yeah.
Like
the red room.
Yes.
Show me the whole shit with the red room.
Exactly.
That way I can actually get all that violence and see like the full spectrum of the shit that went on. Like
why she was fucked up for so long.
Exactly. Why she why she considers herself a monster in Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
But then we can see those things. But Deadpool needs to stay. Like Wolverine for his final movie, we finally got rated R. And like it's like finally got a movie where Wolverine can be Wolverine and just claws out,
hit a guy in the fucking head.
Yeah, so we can finally see that.
No, I saw that and I was like, cool. This is going to mean good things for these Fox properties moving over. It's just going to be interesting to see what exactly happens with them and really if this deal goes through, because there's still that little bit of chance that it doesn't. And I'm crossing my fingers that it goes through because it brings me back to something that I think it was Kevin Smith that I watched a long time ago with him, where it's basically he's like, the thing I would love to see, he goes, any child of a politician should go to their father or mother and say, Mom, don't stop this. We need this.
Yeah.
Because really it's politics of, and I get it to a sense of like you don't want a monopoly being started and Disney would own most of the entertainment sphere with both of these.
Would that be so bad though?
Give me what I want.
Yeah.
Like give me.
I want all of Marvel under one umbrella.
Exactly. And also I'll be completely honest, on the streaming side, that just means I buy Disney Plus and I get all the Fox movies too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't have to buy yet another streaming service to get something else. Like, Disney Plus, I am so excited.
I will be paying. I will be paying for that one. But I do want to bring a question to you after.
One second. Not only do you get all the Marvel stuff, the Disney stuff, you get the new shows. There's even a rumor that I don't know if you saw this. You know who's probably going to get their own Disney Plus show?
Who?
Sif.
Oh, that'd be cool.
From Thor. She's going to get her own Disney Plus show.
If you don't introduce anyone else in that, or him in anything else, introduce Beta Ray Bill in that one.
Exactly. What was your question for me?
Since we sort of got on that topic, what other Marvel characters could you see needing a rated R movie? Because like Iron Man doesn't need it. Daredevil. That would be a good one.
Daredevil and the Punisher.
Not necessarily Luke Cage. I was thinking like just all through those.
Daredevil and the Punisher are the ones that come. Especially the Punisher.
No, if you don't do that rated R, you did something wrong.
Even if you give me a TV series that's like rated R, like...
It kind of was.
Kind of, yeah.
I think it was pretty rated. I don't know if it was rated R, but it seemed like it was rated R.
Trying to think what else.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting thing.
And you could say if you did the storyline,
a Galactus movie, like just a movie about Galactus like invading Earth, rated R it.
Yeah.
I would also love to see an entire X-Men series that was rated R.
You know what I would do if you did a rated R X-Men series, which is starting to sound really bad.
I would also love we're gonna get this from Sony, but Carnage.
Yeah.
I know that's not Marvel, but I'm still going to throw it in there.
It's affiliated with Marvel.
Like, give me a true rated R Carnage movie.
Yeah, but no, I was thinking if you did the X-Men storyline, do it when Beast goes rogue. Remember that one?
Oh, yes.
And get like super,
super feral almost.
Feral Beast.
Yeah, exactly.
That story. Or feral Wolverine. One of those two. Or one of them goes feral. And then you just see the fucking carnage that happens when they can't control themselves.
Yes.
That would be a rated R storyline for the X-Men for me.
Ooh.
You get chills too?
A little bit, yeah. Oh, man.
Just thinking of feral beast.
I want to pose that question onto you guys out there. What rated R, like what movies, characters don't we have rated R?
That should be.
I think that's our big
Or ones that aren't out there yet that should be rated R before they come out.
Yes. So that's the question I want to pose to you guys to kind of put a kibosh on this because... God, that's one that we could even come back to and have a secondary conversation. Yeah. We might push that to the side and have a secondary conversation.
We should bring one or two other people on for that one too.
Yes.
That we know.
I mean, that would be one where
So we can get because there's the ones that I'm not thinking of that you're thinking of, and vice versa. There's one that we're both probably not thinking of that you guys should tell us about too.
Like, I'll be honest. I mean, I'm gonna go to the DC side a little bit.
Yeah, go for it.
Give me. You brought up the Arkham Asylum thing earlier. Give me an Arkham Asylum movie that is a horror movie rated R.
Rated R.
That's what I want.
Oh, here you go to add on to it with multiple villains. Hugo at the top. Victor Zsasz is one of them, and one or two others.
I was going to say, if you give me a rated R Batman film, Victor Zsasz needs to be in that film.
Zsasz, Hugo Strange, Mad Hatter. At least those three.
Needs to be. I feel like the Joker has to be in that rated R movie, too.
Maybe.
He's got, like, can you imagine the Joker rated R?
But I feel like if you have Hugo Strange at the top running the thing.
And I'm not talking about that crap Joker that we got.
Don't give me Leto.
In Suicide Squad. Yeah, that was his name. I forgot his name completely. Give me like Heath Ledger Joker rated R.
Style, yeah. Give me his style.
Oh, that is just.
I'm saying, I mean, you gotta either. I would feel like you gotta choose between Hugo Strange and Joker.
Joker.
You really?
Yes.
Okay.
Like Hugo is nice. You want to give
Hugo Strange a chance?
Hugo is nice, but for rated R, Joker needs to be there.
The only reason I'm thinking rated R, Hugo Strange, Victor Zsasz, Mad Hatter, and a few others is because Hugo Strange wants to see the full extent of Batman's mentality.
I guess. I mean, I'm
playing into the full movie aspect of it now.
I'm looking at it rated R. Give me what the Joker can bring rated R to that
Save
film.
that when you have Jason Todd.
Oh, under the red hood, rated R.
Say my rated R Joker movie.
Could you
for
imagine
Death in the Family?
Death in the Family, rated R.
Save that for that.
Johnny dropping bombs here, and that's where Johnny just.
I played hardball.
Johnny just mic drops it to end, but this is where you guys
tried,
come
but
in.
I can't drop this mic.
Let us know what you think down below in that comment section about anything we talked about. Mainly, that last one is the question I will leave you off to: is what film, and branch it out to anything. What comic book hero, villain, movie would you like to see rated R at some point in your life? Also, make sure to support us on Patreon. Make sure to rate us on iTunes and Apple Podcasts. Make sure to hit us up on Twitter, mostvaluablepodcasts.com, where you can catch MVP each and every day. Make sure to do that. Want to thank you guys for watching on YouTube. Want to thank you guys for listening on podcast services around the world. And as always, have a good day, everybody.